All right, you need to have forms. I already got a form. I got the plastic. I got my rolling pin. I got the 1/4 inch because I don't want the clay to be too thick. So 1/4 inch clay cutter, everything I need. Oh, I have one of these too. Needle tool. So all this stuff is what you need to have in front of you before you get clay and before you're ready to really do anything. To slump, you're going to have the clay, you're going to have plastic under and over so that you can store it. Forms are not where the templates are, because we have things that are circular over there, but those aren't not intended to slump clay in. They're intended to use as templates to trace. The forms that we have are either hard plastic, styrofoam, or aluminum. And we have a lot of options. We don't have just circles and rectangles. We have squares, we have different shapes. Oh, speaking of that, you could create a slab and make the shape itself into something else and slump it. Jack?
Yeah, I'm just looking at it.
Alright, so to start out with, another thing I want to say is we're going to use a new bag of clay because I want you to have fresh clay that hasn't been used at all for rolling out your slab. And I'm using one that's a little bit been used. But this is another way you can stretch the clay. Turning it over and over. This isn't going to be enough. Maybe it will. Maybe I can make it work. Or I can get another form. Alright, using the side sticks, and I'll be able to hear when it's actually hitting that. And I might actually even go a little bit lower. You don't want it too thin. This is getting a bit too thin. But I can hear the rolling pin hitting the wood now. So I know that I'm as low as it can go. So taking the form right on there, tracing it. I'm going to trace it lightly. 90-degree angle with the needle tool because I don't want to bevel my edge. Oops. And here's a little trick, because the clay is really, really soft right now, so even just a little pressure is going to mark it up. And I don't want that on my slab. So I'm just going to gently loosen it on one corner. And this is another thing that I do that helps. I put the plastic right on there, smooth it into place so that it's all set to be put on there. Lifting it up, slip my form under there, and this is definitely not perfect because the clay was not wedged out first, but I have it slumped on there. I mean, you want to start out with a really well rolled slab. You don't want to do all this design work and graffito and all that, and the slab is like thick, thin, and looks, you know, uneven and poorly crafted. This is a rib tool. You can use this to sort of correct anything you don't, doesn't look right. It's very gently. So I can put this aside. I can, if I feel like I'm not going to get back to it for a good 3 days, a good idea is to just give it a little mist and cover it up, and it's good to go. Another thing you want to be mindful of when working with this kind of slab is as it starts to dry, it's going to be really, really fragile. So the larger scale works you want to be extra careful with.